This is gonna get you so mad. You're gonna be so mad.
Didn't talk about color is what you probably expected when you came in here.
I did not.
Well, that's fine. I didn't talk about color. I didn't get all emotional about your vision.
Let's go right into it and let's see what we can find.
That we require an immigrant to know about the country in order to become a citizen. So there's a test. My mom had to pass it. Every immigrant has to pass it to this country. That asks you some basic questions. What are the three branches of government? What branch of government does the U.S. president lead? Some basic questions about what is the Bill of Rights. It's like a multiple choice exam, or some of them you write in. I think that if we're going to ask immigrants to pass that test, as we should, I think every 18-year-old who graduates from high school should have to pass that as well, because young people, it goes back to that issue of pride. You don't value a country that you don't know something about. You don't value something you inherit. You value something you have a stake in creating, in building.
So, yeah, I definitely do agree with that. That's a really big, important point. A lot of people are just given things. So I think, for the most part, take all the privileges that we have in this country for granted uniquely. But this isn't a political channel. I just wanted to go over this because it's on the Breakfast Club, and we have to review and keep these people accountable in the scene of hip hop. So let's go back into it.
Knowing something about. So how do we think big about this? Well, young people, as I told you, most of them, very few of them vote as it stands today. Super small numbers. And apparently 60% of them say they would rather give up their right to vote than give up TikTok. Well, I say, all right, let's take that to the next level. How about we do something that raises the voting age from 18 to 25, but you still get to vote at 18. Mm-hmm. If you just pass that same civics test that an immigrant has to pass in order to vote. And tests aren't for everybody, so be it. Then you at least serve in the military or a first responder role for 6 months.
All right, yeah, this is something I want to respond to. Yeah, so he brought up a really good point. Actually, I can't argue with that. Actually, I'm also a foreigner. I wasn't born in the U.S., but I was raised here ever since I was really young. So, giving everybody the ability to vote at 18, but you just have to pass the civics test. They already make you have to take tests in order to have your gun license, right? So, I mean, I don't really see a big problem with this. And then on top of that, if you're 25, I think you begin to think a little bit more rationally than your average 18-year-old. But, I just might be speaking.
That's my civic duty voting proposal. And the reason is, I'll actually make a prediction. I think youth voting in this country will skyrocket. From a very low level right now, it will skyrocket because you value something you actually have to earn. And I think that this is not a left-wing or right-wing point. We all have duties as citizens, right? We aspire to free market capitalism, right? Materialist advance. And that's the life I've lived as well, by the way. My parents came to this country with not a lot of money. I've lived the American dream. I've made a lot of money by building businesses.
Hey, look, if you're an immigrant, you came from another country, like, you really had to get out the mud. Some people, I'm not going to say this is true for a lot of people, or for everyone, but for a lot of people who are immigrants, I feel like for the most part, they come here with nothing, AKA me.
That's one side of what it means to be an American. But part of it is we also have duties to this country. And I think the more we wake that up, actually, the voting age only became 18 in 1971 in the context of the Vietnam draft. So I just think reviving those ideas is going to be good for us.
A lot. So let's prove your point. Nick, our camera guy, do you know the three branches of the federal government?
Over 24, so it don't matter.
But I'm just saying, but nobody knows they're 24. Red, do you know the three branches?
Executive.
Wait, what? No one knows. Wait, I don't know if I heard DJ Envy right, but no one knows what those things are? Nah, not at no 24. You got to know. You got to know your stuff. Come on, man. We've been in school for a long time. What? It's judicial, legislative, and executive. Let's go.
Well, I got a test. I would like to see if you're willing to pass. Because I believe in just as you.
Oh, I already know y'all about to get mad right here. We all about to get mad. But let's see what you got to say.
Believe in civic engagement. I believe in changing the ideas of what political opponents look like, what they should look like, or political candidates. Are you willing to take a test with me quickly? Because I just have a couple of questions for you.
I will,
absolutely.
So and the way this is opening up, I have a feeling I'm about to fail it, but that's good. Let's do it.
Hey, he coming in with a good energy, man. But you already could tell from how she's asking the question, she's about to lead him up into something where it's like highly only leveraged towards one side. So she already kind of seems like she's going to be a little bit disingenuous, but he's going to go through and, roll with the punches.
That's right. Yeah. So just for clarity, I am an independent. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican.
Cool.
I think that's
She's lying.
Important for the premise of the argument, because I know you did a lot of debating at Harvard. I also want to make it clear that these are the same questions that I asked liberal Democrat Marianne Williamson. So I want to make sure that we put that out there as well, just to kind of set the foundation.
I'm
for the
open
test.
to being humbled. Let's do this.
Okay, great. Let's go. So you mentioned, the pride of being an American and how important it is to have pride in this country. I'm also a veteran, by the way, for the United States Air Force. So when is it that you voted for the first time?
I voted in 2020.
Okay, so you're how old again?
I'm 37 years old.
So for how many years you sat around and did not get involved at all in any civic engagement? Is that?
Wait. I know you guys are kind of seeing the same thing I'm seeing, but what? Sitting around? Like, she's already coming at this with like very snarky remarks. Like, what? No, I ain't sitting around.
A long time is the answer. And actually, that's what I wrote this book about. I'm not holding myself out as some sort of model. I'm actually offering myself as a self-reflection of my journey as a citizen, to whom this country has given much, right? As an adult, when you have kids, it changes your perspectives. I'm very honest about that. Absolutely.
Okay, no problem. So let's go deeper into the self-reflection. So you've sat around and sir, I'm being as respectful as I possibly can. Please.
What? This is being respectful. Where is the femininity? Where is, everything that comes in the world good of trying to be respectful? This does not even seem like I might be wrong, but this doesn't seem like she's actually trying to be respectful. It seems like she already has her mind made up. Not going to lie.
Just don't take anything
and you don't even have to be. And you don't even have to be. So take it off and let's go.
So you've been sitting around in the country that my ancestors built for about 20 years. Your parents came over as immigrants, brought you over. You made millions, according to your resume, off of this country, and you have absolutely not been involved in civics. One, not voting, and two, let me just ask, because I know you mentioned earlier you don't want to sit around at the debate and talk about accomplishments. Let's make the accomplishments pretty simple. In high school, were you ever a class president or take any leadership role? Because your opponent did, Chris Christie. He was the class president. So have you?
What does high school have to do with any of this? If he's already gotten to the point of making millions, I don't even need to know whether you were a class president in high school.
Have you ever taken any leadership at all on anything, or just?
Can I just correct a couple factual things that are kind of important? My parents didn't bring me over to the country. I was born in this country, and I'm proud of that.
No, I know you were born
Let
in
them know.
Ohio.
You mentioned my parents.
I'm saying your parents were immigrants. My apologies.
Nah.
You said your parents brought you over to this country. I thought I
my
would set
apologies.
that record straight.
I mean, they were immigrants, but let's not go down the water hole.
No. I just want to correct a couple facts.
Yeah, let them finish.
Born here in Ohio.
I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. That's right.
Right. So you've been here your entire life. So the question is, did you take any leadership role in middle school, high school, class president?
I did.
I know you played tennis. What is it? Explain it to us.
Student council. But I think that this is yes, I have held leadership roles over my life, but those don't qualify me to do what I'm doing now.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Okay,
well, it kind of does.
Gosh. This man is the third leading candidate to become the president. And I think he's a Republican nominee. But that has nothing to do. Like, I don't care about what you did in middle school or if you're a class president. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, I'm giving the test. I'm the test administrator.
All right, there you go.
So it kind of does, because when you go from saying I want to go to the highest office,
and I'll tell you, I've led companies as well. Is the other leader?
Right,
The main leadership role I've played is, and I want to talk about one early part of your premise that I also want to say, to bring it to the country point. The other point, you use the word sitting around. You know, I'm not somebody who's saying I want the next generation, my kids' generation, to have more civic duties when they graduate from high school and college than I did when I did. That being said, I wasn't sitting around. I've developed medicines, 5 of which are FDA-approved products today, one of which is a life-saving therapy in kids, 20 of whom die by the age of 3 if they're not treated, 70% of whom now live lives of a normal duration.
Yo, I got to stop this. What? This guy is running for president? Like, dude, what president now do you know who's had some of those impacts? Who ran businesses, except for Trump. But other than Trump, this guy, making patents and FDA approved medication for kids and stuff like that. Dude, I mean, he seems pretty qualified.
Another one for prostate cancer. So I don't apologize for making contributions. But
right, well, I don't want you to filibuster that because that's not the question that
What? You asked him the question.
I asked, and I don't consider, as a veteran, I'm talking about service. I'm not talking about what you
Civic
did for
service,
profit. I'm not talking about...
Whoa, hey, yo. This is getting out of hand. What? For you? Like, I'm not talking about what you did for profit. Yo, anything you do in life, especially in a capitalistic market, anything you do, like we're gonna have to make money. We're gonna have to eat. What the heck are you talking about? What, you served in the military? Yeah, I mean, kudos to you, thank you. But you didn't just work at the military for free. I don't know a single person who would have just done that for free. Well, maybe just one come to mind, but I think in most cases people are doing things in order to still receive something out of it, right? So, I mean, there's tremendous benefits from serving and retiring from the military. So, I don't know. This lady's already like, she's crazy.
What you paid people to do with your company.
I've not served the country
because that
in the way
means
you
nothing
have.
to me.
You do
what I'm
realize
talking,
she hasn't been able to ask a question. She's been trying to ask a question, and you've been talking over her.
I'm all ears.
Man, DJ Ivy, you funky donkey, dumb jackass. Like, what? Like, she's been cutting them off the whole time. What? Hey, I'm about to get heated. Hold up. Man, I don't even want to watch this right now. I'm about to get heated.
We gave you the platform to let you say
I'm
what
all
you said.
defensive.
I'm all ears. No, I was just correcting a couple facts.
She hasn't had a chance to
That's
ask a
all.
question yet. Every
Go
time
ahead,
she
Ted,
tries
ask
to
the
ask a
question.
question, you've been cutting her off. Good.
I'm all ears.
Right. So your question. So my question again is: you're trying to your goal is to raise the standard, and you're saying you want people to believe in country, and you want people to have civic engagement. And sir, I just find it very telling that you haven't had any civic engagement at all, and haven't been at all. And when I say sit around, I don't mean you haven't done anything. I'm talking about in regards to service. Because one thing about political office, the same way that you want to change how people look at politics and look at this country, I want to change how people look at politicians. And when I see that someone hasn't did anything at all to be of service.
Politicians already do nothing. I hate to say it. Most politicians, they don't do anything. I mean, yo, I'm thinking about Joe Biden right now because he's the longest standing president or politician that I know at this point. And maybe only one person comes to mind to beating him, and that's Nancy Pelosi. But, yo, what? This woman's lost her mind. Hey, black people, we gotta do better.
To mankind to take a leadership role. It's not good enough to just be on city student council. Were you a leader? All of that applies. Have you been able to get anybody in the room at any time, from a high school gymnasium to Ohio, Republican leadership there to now? Have you been able to get anybody in a room to believe in this vision? I don't agree with a lot of your vision statement, but I do know you've been going around having these discussions and getting everybody emotionally worked up to talk about vision and debate. But I want to get to the practical. You're trying to go from preschool to president of the United States. You're skipping over city council, county council, mayor, governor. You want to go straight.
Everything pointless. Yo, he does not look. He's not going for those positions. We live in America. Look, if you're trying to become something, go and do that. Why do I need to go do a whole bunch of other things before I do that one thing? I think I think he has the credentials that proves that he's worthy of becoming a president. He's led companies. He's led numerous efforts, not vaccine, but he's come up with medication for children and stuff like that, FDA approval. What presidential candidate do you know has some of these criterias or have some of these credentials under them? None.
To the top. So my question is this a PR? Is this for the PR, the perception of reality, or can you point to any leadership where you've been able to get people to believe in what you're talking about that they're not paid to do on any of these vision statements that you have? If not, then to me it's a moot point, because you're holding a standard that you haven't met yourself.
So if you're only going to count government service, you're absolutely
no, not government
right.
service.
Okay.
Student council in the 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th. Were you a leader? Did you do anything to rally anybody? Did you fight for better lunch? I did in the 6th grade with Miss Harris.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about government. I can go all the way back from the 5th grade every year, sir, because people who are in service to this country, if you're going to go around saying you want people to believe in this country that I signed up to die for, then I want to make sure that you're holding that same standard. So not government, not political. Let's not get it confused. Yeah. I'm saying, have you did anything of service that we can point to say he is a good leader?
He just named the whole thing about him creating medication for children.
Like Chris, and I'm not even a fan of Chris Christie, but he was the student council president in high school. So have you done anything of service besides yourself that has not benefited yourself? It's just a simple question.
Why is she talking about elementary school to high school and all this other stuff? This lady is extremely idiotic, and she does not know what she's talking about. Please don't tell me this is what America is doing right now. Like, we cannot have people like this. Hey, yo, Breakfast Club, you guys need to fix this. This is your platform. You guys let people like this represent you? Like, oh, bro, like this.
So the acts of service that I have performed are small, so small that I don't even want to talk about them to boast. But yes, have I volunteered for this country? Yes, I have. I've always been interested in healthcare.
It's okay to talk about the small things.
I mean, these are small things, right? But thank you.
Let's just mention it.
Bethesda North Hospital.
So it's really a no?
No, it's not a no. It's just something I don't like boasting about. I
well,
volunteered.
We're not boasting. It's an interview. You're boasting on your vision and everything.
It's pointless.
Everything else. I think you boasted on the millions of dollars that you made. So let's just throw it out. So in 6th grade, I'll give you an example. I'll help you out. In 6th grade, Miss Harris, was slapped. Let me give you an example because maybe you're confused. In the 6th grade, Miss Harris was snatching papers from everybody in the classroom. So me as a 10-year-old, I went to the principal and said, I'm tired of Miss Harris snatching papers. And I organized the students around getting Miss Harris to stop snatching papers. Now, there was a consequence for that. I got suspended for 5 days for talking back, and I got in trouble. I got a spanking, and I was on punishment for months and months. But that is a simple way of organizing people. So I want you to kind of boast about it the way you did the millions of dollars and said what you did with the pharmaceutical companies. What leadership can you point to that you've been able to rally anybody around anything that is of service that you did not pay anybody to do? I think that's important for the next president.
This woman is she's a donkey. She is the donkey of the day. I'm sorry, I don't really mean to call people dumb, but you, my friend, are dumb. I don't even know what else to say. Like, what? Someone's running for president and you want him to give examples of when he was in middle school, 6th grade, 5th grade, talking about snatching paper. I am so inspired.
In the United States.
Sure. So I've always been drawn to healthcare. That's why I ended up founding companies in that space. When I was in high school, part of what drew me into it was that I was a volunteer at a local hospital. I actually became the leader of that group of volunteers that actually discharged women who had recently given birth. That was it. Nothing big to it.
Did you do anything we can point to stand out?
But I want to say something about that because I say that in the book. If I'm being really honest, why did I do that in high school? A part of the motivation, I'll be just brutally honest with you, was that's actually what allows you to get into a good college when you graduate. Is
right.
You want to check the box of community service.
So it was about you.
So there was an element.
It was about you. What? He's volunteering. Like, I mean, you get something out of volunteering. I mean, so many people I know have done volunteer work in order to get into some of these big colleges that, they've eventually went to and become something of themselves. But You literally can't say like, yo, why didn't you do something selfless while, you were in high school or, a baby?
And I'm admitting that in a way that very few other people do, but I got to be honest about it. That was a big part of why I did it.
Yeah, it was about self, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to give it back to the guys. I'm going to be honest about it with you.
Yep.
Leadership is not about self.
I agree with you on that.
What I just heard is that everything is about you. And to be honest with you, this is just a PR campaign, sir. To be honest with you, and I think you're trying to go further to the right because you want the Republicans to accept you as a man of color. And I think the only way you think you can do that is to be so extreme.
I appreciate your.
My friend, you are so lost. Lady, you are so lost. You're an old bag. I am sorry, but what led you to that type of conclusion? He said nothing about the Republican Party, and all you did was ask him questions, and you just pretty much ridiculed him for all the questions that he said, or all the answers that he responded with for no reason. I mean, it looks like he answered your questions, and then you ridicule him, and then you'd ask him another question, and he'd answer that, and then you just can't find anything that you can settle with to be the correct answer. It looks like she's looking for a specific answer, but at the same time, if he provides it, he's wrong anyway. So, what's the point of doing this interview?
With your positions, and I think you need to do a little bit more work in service. I'll give it back to you guys.
Let me ask.
Look at her, she's running away. She's running away
because she did ask me a question, and then you guys said you wanted to hear a response, but I think I heard an expression of opinion. So I want to make sure you're all done before I respond to it.
No, just wanting to say that even then, I would still want you to point out, even at the hospital, something that you did that made you stand out on when actually taking a leadership role. But you already answered it. You said you did it because it was a motivation to get in college.
Exactly.
Which means it was
I'm
about
being very
you.
honest about it.
What? Wow. Black women, is this what you have? Do you guys claim this thought, this mind, like this? When I say thought, I mean like intellectual thought. But do you guys claim this as your speaker? Dude, like, she's on something else
about that. But
everything has been about you. So as a veteran,
let me tell you something. I appreciate
it's very hard.
It's about you, but as a veteran.
For me to follow leaders that make everything about them. So you might want to work on that because it's a lot of veterans and Republicans. So you might want to work on that talking point and maybe do some volunteering while you're on the campaign trail. I'm going to give it back to Charlamagne and Envy.
Yeah, once I want to be respectful. Want to make sure you got everything you wanted to on the table before I respond.
Hey, I'm gonna say this right now. This guy, Vivek Ramaswamy. This guy is, I don't know if I said the name right, but this guy is very professional. He held himself very well in retaliation to this attack from the Breakfast Club. Yo, we've got to elevate our knowledge, man, because this is making everybody look like some dumbasses.
Yeah, if this was just us, it would be a lot more.
You guys tell me. I'm the guest on your show. You tell me when I'm good to speak.
Go ahead.
You sure? Mm-hmm. You sure about that? If we're good.
Yeah, we're sure.
So I think there's a different worldview that we have. And I think the worldview is how one actually makes contributions in a country. I do not believe that there's a separate category of just if you're serving the country and then if you're acting in self-interest, that's somehow sinful or wrong. I reject that vision. To the contrary, I think capitalism is the best system known to man to lift people up from poverty.
Yo, he is spitting straight facts right now. If it weren't for capitalism, there'd be a lot of poor people. Just look around the world. All these socialist governments and communist governments. How hard is it for some of those people to come up the ranks? You have the opportunity to, go to college and do all this other stuff, but in some of these other countries, you just don't have that option. I think capitalism gives the less fortunate the opportunity to head start into the middle class as fast as possible.
I deeply respect and I thank you for your service to this country. I'm grateful for it. I haven't served the country in the way that you have. But I think that the way you get ahead in capitalism How did I develop a multi-billion-dollar biotech company? It was by developing medicines that save people's lives.
A lot of people say capitalism causes poverty.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Okay.
I disagree
You
with that.
say
I
that.
think that capitalism demands that you provide something to someone that helps them more than you're actually charging them for it. That's the only way.
That's
the
a
tried and
business
true
model,
way for you
sir.
to-
That's not.
Oh, someone stop this. Bro, I'm about to get so mad. I'm already mad. I'm already worked up. Oh, man, I cannot do this. Not today. Why are they doing this to me today?
It's a business
service.
model. It's not, I'm not
That's
saying
not
it's
service.
I'm saying it's
But
having
see,
an impact on
an
society.
An elected official is service. That's the disconnect
That's right. So
that you're
now,
missing that they didn't teach
I'm
you.
moving on to there are phases of our lives where we do different things.
Well, you're moving straight all the way up to President of the United States.
You know, I don't view it as a hierarchy. I don't view it as a hierarchy. I don't believe in hierarchies. The hierarchy is the way the bureaucracy works. I don't believe in so we have a difference in opinion.
You also don't believe in service, and that's where we're having a disconnect.
Well, I disagree with you.
This woman is so, like, vindictive, man. Like, nothing but attacks. Nothing but attacks.
On that.
You know,
I just disagree with you on that.
I do think it's whack that you're proposing to revoke voting rights for 18 to 24-year-olds unless they meet certain qualifications, but you never exercised your rights.
Well,
so long.
Most young people don't, is the whole point.
Well,
so, Charlamagne, let me ask you a question.
The
Do you think
the largest voter turnouts have been over the last couple elections, few elections?
They still voted at a very low rate. But let me ask you a question. What do you think about high school students being required to pass the civics test? What's your perspective on that?
The one that you proposed?
The one that every immigrant has to pass in order to enter the country. If every high school student has to pass that before they graduate, what's your take on that?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Okay.
Then why'd you even... Yo, why did you even argue with the man's point? You agree with him anyways, but now you... Dude, the high vote turnout thing is all political, man. Like, what we've kind of been seeing these past couple of years, man, everybody's locked in. The media's pretty much gearing and turning everybody's mind to, like, think a particular way, man. This country, man, it's going somewhere, and it ain't going up.
Okay, good.
A lot of investors and the wealthy class, people who invest in this country, are leaving because of like this lady right here.
Now let me tell you
and Charlamagne.
Something about the law as it exists.
And don't forget DJ Envy.
Today, men in this country, not women, but men are required by law to register with the Selective Service, age 18 to 25. That's the draft. We don't have a draft, but men have to register. If you don't, they put you in prison. At least they can. It's a criminal offense if you don't. My view is I would decriminalize that. I don't like the government telling you what you can and cannot do. That's not the American way. But if you want to enjoy the civic privilege of voting, then I think it is perfectly legitimate to say you have to at least know something about the country or have served that country, one or the other. Absolutely. Now, I think that what do we actually care about, right? What do we? I mean, we can do the personal attack thing. We care about the country. We care about the country.
The cornerstone of democracy, though.
Voting is the cornerstone of democracy. I have not.
She's gonna bring up that personal attack point. I know it. I just can feel it.
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing that's different.
She's holding on to it. I know it.
Sir, excuse me, because this is important. We have to pause it. This is not a personal attack.
That's okay.
This.
I knew it.
This is you, and I know that as a Republican, you are certainly not soft. So this is not a personal attack.
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
okay with
asking
attacks
about.
too.
This is about asking about your background and how it correlates, how it's relevant to saying you're going to serve this country, because president is actually.
So I have been an open book in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I know,
Absolutely.
and I'm going page by page.
And
but
I'm
it's not
saying
an
that
attack.
I have not.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Yep.
But I want to be clear. It's not an attack.
Okay.
Because you've been an open
Hurry up
book,
and get
but
to your
that doesn't
point.
mean I have to like what's on the page.
That's fair
But
enough.
it's not an attack. I'm just reading the book.
Yep.
And so when I hear somebody say you need to get to either pass this test.
This lady is saying that she's never attacked him, but every point that he's given, she's refuted. She's rebutted some nonsensical points and said that his answers weren't good enough. Like, are you serious?
Or do some type of service to the country. And I spend hours looking. You were in the Phi Beta Kappa. Did you have a leadership role in college, the honor roll? When somebody sets service as the standard and they've done no service except to themselves, that's a fair question. It's a question.
That's
and
a
you
fair
just
question.
So I've been on the. I mean, look, I was on I was on high school student council. Yes, absolutely.
Were you a leader? Were you a leader?
I was a vice president.
Why
of the
is
high school
she so
student council.
fixated
Absolutely. I was
on
the
that?
president of the
Okay,
National
great.
Honor Society. I can go down the list. It's just that
that's
these
what
are
I
not,
was asking you to do. Go down the
absolutely.
list.
He already
I was the
did.
president of the National Honor Society. I was the vice president of my student council. I was a lead amongst the volunteers at the hospital where I served growing up. I was actually a leader in volunteer research over the summers. From my senior year.
All of that, but you already admitted all of that was to get into college.
Yo, you see what she's trying to do right now? You're attacking every point, and you said no personal attacks are being made. You literally just said all of that stuff that you were asking for is not good enough. What else do you have to do? This man's created FDA-approved clinical medicine for children, right? And he already was the class president and all the different types of leader. He's done all the volunteer work, and it's still not enough for this lady. Man, black ladies, step up, please. Does this woman represent the majority of you guys, of you veterans, of you black women, black people? Dude, we gotta shut this down. And I mean, to say this, not everyone deserves a microphone in front of them. Because you hear dumb. Not everyone deserves a microphone in front of them because you hear dumb. Just like this. You hear dumb like this.
Go ahead.
But I am admitting it. I think that
I know
it's
that's self-service, though. Do you understand the difference between self-service and service?
I think the reality is, and I think we just all have to be more honest. When many high school students are serving today, not all of them, but I think let's smoke it out. I don't like that structure where we actually mix service with self-interest.
And I don't like the structure of somebody saying somebody need to give service as a veteran. I don't like the structure of somebody going to the highest office of the land and have not served anybody at any time.
Yo. I want to give this woman an award for the highest long jump, the highest reach that anyone has ever made in history.
Unless it was self-serving. So this is where we just have two different ideologies. And I know your goal was to come here and get into.
Here's my perspective.
That's why we got different perspectives.
Two guys, you got to leave in 5 minutes. I know.
I'll let them wrap up.
Let me just say one thing: here's my vision of the run for presidency, and this is why I say I'm an open book. Is my job is to make sure people in this country know who I am and what I stand for. And I think that very few politicians on either party actually get that job done.
Yep.
So what I say is I'm an open book about who I am and what I stand for. Whether the people of this country want to vote for me, that's their question, not mine. That's their job to determine, not mine. And you're free not to vote for me. I expect you won't, and that's okay. But I'm doing my job in the 3 books I've written over the last year, in the conversation I'm having with you guys, being far more honest than any politician that I know in the last 10 years in this country. And I think when I say we want to fix corruption, you don't know what the first step is? The first step is actually people being honest. So you guys know me. You know what I stand for. I haven't hit back on that. Whether people in this country want to vote for it, that's their choice.
Do you want to unite the country?
I do want to unite the country.
So why is one of your marquee campaign proposals making sure black people can no longer benefit from affirmative action?
See, here's the thing. It's actually been a disastrous experiment over the last 60 years. I've seen the impact that it's had. Unlike a lot of other executives, I've had senior executives in my company who happen to be black, senior executives in my campaign who happen to be black. I actually went to a majority or close to majority black school 1st through 8th grade. There isn't a single one of those black kids or black colleagues that could not have achieved everything I have in my life. I firmly believe that to be true. And I have seen the unfair discrimination behind closed doors, the things that people will say behind closed doors, about somebody who would have had that position anyway, but was unfairly tarred with the taint of saying they got it because of a race-based quota system. I think that's unjust to everyone across the board. And I think that the right way to do this is actually ensure equality of opportunity, educational access at an early age, which, by the way, we don't have in this country, starting at an actual young age. How about doing that in a way that's agnostic to race? That way we prevent seeing one another on the basis of a color of our skin, but we actually solve the real inequalities that we have when it starts with inequality of opportunity, starting with education. So
education is one of the biggest things that I think it's more valuable than gold, more valuable than anything I wouldn't say anything, but it's more valuable than a lot of other things that are currently being offered right now. But having the mindset, having the intelligence to navigate this world, man, it's priceless.
So my view is, I think my approach is actually going to be more successful in lifting up more black Americans than have been the Lyndon Johnson approach of actually using race-based quota systems.
So if the Supreme Court does rule on affirmative action and they do ban it, who do you feel it benefits versus who it hurts?
They already did.
I think that it helps everyone if they end race-based affirmative action in college admissions. I think it will literally help everyone in different ways, because it restores merit in the United States. Are we perfect in ensuring equality of opportunity? No, we're not. The fact that kids are trapped by the zip code in which they're born, determining where they go to school, is a problem, which is why I favor universal school choice in this country, which has actually done more to help black Americans than has any affirmative action program.
What's your thought?
This man is speaking. This man is speaking right now, people. I mean, I don't know. What way could you better put it? What way could you better put it?
Some people saying that you got Don Lemon fired.
I think that the New York Times reported that. I had an open debate with Don Lemon. What CNN wanted to do with that is their choice. My view is, though, we need to start saying in public the things that people are otherwise saying in private. There's a gap right now in the country. Let's admit it. Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter.
Be careful with that, because a lot of people in your party are going to start saying nigga out loud.
I don't think so, actually. And I would certainly hope not. I would condemn it if they do. I would condemn it if anybody does. All right? But what I think is we need to close the gap between what people say in private and what they say in public. That allows us to air our differences, and then we actually find unity that way. That's actually what I think unites the country, not creating this culture of hush-hush, right? Say one thing in public and a different thing in private. And I do reject Don Lemon's premise. What did he tell me on set? He said, you can disagree with me when you have black skin and you've lived in this country, whatever ethnicity you are.
But
explain
sir,
it to me.
I
just reject
did
that.
Not,
I think we should all.
Sir, let's just use a real example.
No, let's. I hope she doesn't say that she didn't do a personal attack.
Just what everybody said. You said, people can have difference of opinion. They can have, you want to unite people. I gave you a difference of opinion as a veteran, and you came back and said that I was personally attacking you. And that is a way of gaslighting and basically, trying to set the idea that I was against
This lady is one-track minded
and what I'm
one-dimensional.
instead of us just having the debate, because see, I did.
All right, I think I had enough. Yeah. Let's say it like this. Breakfast Club, you guys have to first take her off of your platform. Breakfast Club, you guys are not looking good. If this is what we have to represent black people, man, can't believe y'all had that doofus Joe Biden on Breakfast Club saying you ain't black if you ain't voted for me. One of the most offensive things I've ever seen. But having this lady on here is almost just as offensive. Like, spewing a whole bunch of illogical, nonsense. Yeah. So you guys let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you like this style of video. Let me know if you thought that this woman was being completely illogical, irrational. And let me know if you thought the Breakfast Club is just completely irrational and illogical. You should not go to the Breakfast Club in order to absorb real world information. Real news? No. Because look at this. I mean, they made an ass of themselves. This is insane. I can't believe this is what we got to represent ourselves. Well, but anyways, until next time, we'll see you right here on the Hot Pot.